Hello everyone, this is Crota coming at you, giving you a shoutcast and a game, wow, between EmpireKas and EmpireHappy here on Terminus. Now, first things you guys will probably notice is that I did make adjustments to my sound and my encoding process. I'm going back to an older version, and I do need to get new sound equipment, so unfortunately, and just trying to give you guys an overall better product to enjoy and listen to. Now, taking a look at the game, we see Kaz spawning as the blue Terran player here at the 9 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Happy spawning as the yellow Terran player here at the 3 o'clock position. Terran versus Terran, both players from Team Empire, and it should be a very good matchup. Now, one thing that I will note off the bat, based upon these spawning locations, I don't expect that much early harassment, as opposed to, say, a clockwise or counterclockwise spawning location. Drops, Hellion run-bys, and Banshees are much more effective. With the positioning here, any player who controls any of these centers of Naga watchtowers are pretty much able to see what is going to be coming in, or you need to go very roundabout methods. And in that roundabout method, a lot can happen. You can find your units are away from home and then end up taking a lot of damage. Now, unfortunately, I do not have game sounds on for myself. That's because in order for me to actually for you guys to actually hear the game sounds, I actually need to crank them up a little bit more. That is the reason why I'm going to be changing my game sounds a little bit, or trying to set up a better system overall, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But I got a couple more announcements coming your way as well. Now, taking a look at the strategy so far, Kaz is going for a gasless 1 Rax expand most likely. Meanwhile, Happy doing a much more traditional gas on 13. And then he should be able to set up a factory right after this marine is trained. So, and actually, excuse me, after a supply depot is added. So we'll see if that supply depot will be added here in just a moment. There's that supply depot there off to the north. We are going to be getting up a command center now set up by Kaz's SCV. And we should also be getting 1 Marine down over here. You can see the SCVs have passed each other. The Marine most likely will know what to do. He needs to make his way out a little bit further and do a little bit of that stutter step. Here we go. There's the SCV. SCV taking a lot of damage so far. Is the SCV going to scout it out? That is the question. Yes, it did scout it out, getting barely sight of that command center here at the natural expansion. And now Happy knows that he can try to do some early heavy harassment. Marines are making their way over. Kaz needs to get up his 2nd Marine as well. He does have home field advantage though, as we are now seeing a triple Rax being placed down. So 3 Rax build. We should follow this up with double refinery here in just a moment. And this is going to be an opening of Terran bio to try to fend off any sort of aggression that we see from Happy. Happy with only 2 Marines can't really do all too much. He's going to really have to wait for those Hellions. And we are now seeing the we are not going to see a Hellion. No, we are going into very heavy harassment. So Happy instead adding on a tech lab on his factory, and now just poking ahead with these Marines, getting in some easy damage. First of all, there is going to be 3 Marines reinforcing though, and those Marines will be forced to run away. Perhaps when it is 3 on 3, Happy may try to re-engage. So there you go, 3 Marines now coming in. They need to stay together and make sure that when they are within range, they're all attacking at the same time. Starport about to be completed. Tech lab already ready to go. The Marines now going after the SCV. 4 Marines now to 3. And once again, home field advantage for Kaz really benefiting, as Kaz now lines up 4 Marines in that bunker, shutting down any sort of Marine harassment. Now, Happy's follow-up at this point is he needs to deal damage. If he doesn't deal a lot of damage with this Banshee, the economic advantage that Kaz has opening up is going to be huge. You can see just the benefit of 1 extra mule does translate to about 300 resources a minute. Happy is very far away from being able to set up his orbital command, and we can also see that Kaz is training double SCVs at this time. But Happy does have the tech advantage. He does have cloaking research about halfway done. Banshee will arrive to the other side of the map just as it is completed, but Kaz, knowing Terran timing in this Terran versus Terran matchup, now getting up an engineering bay, and 1 engineering bay with 2 missile turrets should be more than enough to shut any sort of harassment down. Happy opting to do a double orbital double command center build and he will be able to try and catch up in the overall economic game. An additional orbital command, orbital command to train up units will help him out. You can see the harvester count, the difference is now 31 to 25. A very, very large number indeed, as we are now going into level 1 weapons upgrade. 3 missile turrets being established. You can already see one here in perfect position. Happy not going to be able to deal any true damage whatsoever. Perhaps getting some damage onto the refinery. That is pretty much it, as Happy needs to back away. And now trying to fly around, perhaps going to take down one SCV just as a missile turret is about to be completed, and now going after some... Oh, another SCV gets taken down. So beautifully played so far, as Happy really maximizing that damage. This missile turret will complete though, and now Happy has to be a little bit careful, as there is enough sight on to that Banshee there. Banshee about to run out of energy. It should most likely just decloak at this point and try and restore it and save it back up, as we now see a second Banshee coming in from the bottom position. Already has a missile turret here. Kaz is ready to go. We can see that the Banshee now trying to come back in and flying simply around that missile turret and splitting the difference on those missile turrets. He can perhaps hold position right there and get some easy damage onto some SCVs. Now also going after an engineering bay. Back over here, this Banshee has not gotten any kills yet, but so far Happy really starting to get those kills up to 7 kills already. Gonna be 8 here in just a moment, and the harvester count is now even at 33 to 33. Happy with that additional orbital command now being upgraded should come out ahead. The Banshee now coming back in from the top here. Banshee trying to perhaps take down those Marines. Range of 6 versus a range of 5. But Happy knows that he cannot continue to follow up with this Cloak Banshee play, especially as Kaz gets more and more units. But he did deal a good amount of damage. 3 mules, 38 SCVs versus 35 SCVs. No additional command center by Kaz, as Kaz is only running off of 2 gas right now. Meanwhile, Happy is going to be running on 3, soon to be 4. And now we're going to see Siege Tank attempt to take down these destructible rocks, and it is going to be a 3-base Happy versus a 2-base Kaz. Now, Happy with that double engineering bay is going to be transitioning into heavier biotech. Meanwhile, Kaz is utilizing those mass Marines and hoping that they're going to be able to deal enough damage here. You can see a command center is already being built, but unbeknownst to Kaz, he is already behind by about 130 seconds. So 130 seconds, 2 minutes behind here. The Banshee's looking to come in and already getting in some easy shots. You can see the Banshee's going after those units. Combat shield now has been completed, so that's going to mean that the units need to take 3 shots in order to get destroyed. The Banshees are splitting up here, and it looks like the Banshees are just simply dealing a lot of damage without actually without really taking down that many units. You can see, oh, one scanner sweep, one group of Marines able to quickly take that down. The Banshees are still trying to figure out all of these Marines here. The Marines with Stim do move faster than those Banshees, so the Banshees do have to be careful. Let's take a look at the Harvester loss. 14 compared to 1. Losses an 800 resource difference. 50 SCVs versus 41. Kaz, though, with the much larger army. But because of these Banshees who are already in position on this side of the map, Kaz does not feel comfortable moving out. 1 missile turret has been completed down over here. Perhaps repairing that all the way up would be helpful. 1 Marine sitting at this Zelnaga tower quickly taken down. 1-0 upgrades, soon to be 1-1 upgrades by Kaz, as we are now going into an armory. We have double engineering bays already. Kaz is going to be able to train up to 2-2 in just a moment, as that armory is nearing completion. And we are also going into siege tech. 3 base Happy versus a soon-to-be 3 base Kaz, as SCV is now trying to be transferred over. It's going to get taken down, and the level 1 armor upgrades actually helping out and making sure that the SCVs now need to take 3 shots in order to get destroyed. Marines quickly getting scanner sweeped here. We are going to have an engagement in just a moment. Siege tanks now going to get in position. It looks like Kaz needs a little bit more time for that siege tech. However, Happy already ready with that siege tech. And this is now going to be a sheer elevator drop into the low ground. Missile turret may be able to take down, yes, 1 of those medevacs before it is ready. Another missile turret, no, sorry, another medevac taking a lot of damage here, as the siege tanks are now pushing their way down into position. The Marines are unable to really engage. What is going to happen here? And now we have a little bit of this no man's land in between these 2 siege tank lines. Kaz's siege tank looks to be in a little bit more of a forward position compared, and the medevacs are now in position of each other to try and perhaps get some damage onto each other here. It is going to be a little bit of a stalemate still, as we are now going into the 5th gas by Happy. The 5th gas of Kaz already being established as well. Marines now trying to make their way in, quickly going to get destroyed here. Now taking down the medevac. One medevac does go down, and the Marines now trying to take down the siege tank. The siege tank goes down, and now Kaz realizes he cannot stick around in this fight. The Marines make their way over. Missile turrets are going to be established, and Kaz is just simply going to return home and regroup with an extra siege tank. So far, Kaz was supply blocked for a small amount of time. You can see a lot of production buildings here by Kaz. More units still being trained up. Marines are upgraded 1-1. Siege tanks not upgraded just quite yet. Meanwhile, Happy is getting into that upgrade, and it really feels like Kaz is behind now. Happy has been on his 3rd base longer, now establishing up a 4th base. He's going to have that extra mule. Siege tank count looks better for Happy, as Happy is sitting on how many siege tanks here? 8 siege tanks to the 1. Marines are now trying to battle it up, and both sides just dealing a lot of damage to each other. Last siege tank does finally go down, and Happy easily taking that victory there, and now is going to move simply across the map. 2-2 upgrades will finish for both of these players. No, yes, Happy is going to be making a move across. If he attacks right now, he would be in prime position, but it looks like Kaz, with that defender's advantage, will be holding on to some of these Zelnaga towers. Happy needs to get more Marines. He simply has a lot of siege tanks, not nearly as many Marines, as Happy wasn't able to get the necessary damage that I would have liked to have seen. Happy perhaps should have just used the siege tanks with that 7 range and simply pushed forward, as we are now going to see a whole bunch of siege tanks now make their way in. Happy with 2 quick siege tanks on the high ground, and now some siege tanks on the low ground as well. The Marines are activating the Zelnaga tower. 1 siege tank now on the ground, and here we go. Siege tanks are ready to go. 1 siege tank, no, doesn't go down. Finally goes down there, as we did, I believe, see 1 shot here. Medevac is healing the rest of these units. You can see up onto the high ground, the siege, or the SCV that was trying to build the command center has been taken down. Kaz will most likely simply cancel that command center, as we now see a command center being established here by Happy. Happy, with about a 40 supply advantage now, decides to retreat. Alright, he's going to be regrouping. He knows he has the economic advantage, and he wants to just simply capitalize on that and get to 200 food, hoping that with that 200 food and a stronger economy, he can replenish his army faster. Level 3 weapons upgrade, and so it will be 3-2 Marines. Siege tanks now going to siege, and here we go. That is a lot of siege tanks by Kaz. Kaz going to be able to eat through many of those Marines. Happy a split second behind, as the Marines are now taking down a lot of those units. Marines now trying to make their way forward, and Kaz doing a good job in that exchange. Only was able to now get the supply difference about 30 away from these 2 players, and that is huge, being able to close in on that supply advantage. If you take a look at the army or the SCV count, there's a 7 or 6 difference there, so the overall army compositions are fairly even. It really is the fact that Kaz needs to get more Marines, and the Marines have really been the key portion in this battle. A lot of siege tanks by Happy. Siege tanks are going to be sieging up on the far side as well. Who has the superior numbers? Who will come out on top? As we are now getting Marines to move forward. Oh, Happy taking a shelling, but trying to push forward. Not going to work out, as now there is only a 10 supply lead. Finally going up into 17 now, as Happy trying to macro up, getting in even more barracks. Double expansions coming in from Happy here at the 12 and 5 o'clock positions. This is looking good. Kaz now trying to land a command center, will not be able to. Happy with 1 Marine should be able to take down this command center very, very easily. Already down to 1,300 hit points, and now being forced to fly away. Happy with a whole line of siege tanks. This is a very effective line of siege tanks, as Kaz is not able to break through easily unless he is willing to take a lot of damage. Medevacs are in play. You can see a drop has happened over here to clean up that 1 lone Marine. planetary fortress being added. You can see a planetary fortress is added off over here, and now the medevacs are going to be trying to reinforce. Are there enough Marines is the key question. The medevacs will be unloading all those Marines here. There is one Viking in the air as well. As you can see, the planetary fortress is getting shot down, and very, very quickly. Marines are now trying to engage, taking down some of the siege tanks, but I believe Kaz is just going to be in a world of hurt, as Kaz, even though he did a good job getting back into this game, is still far behind. Siege tanks at 1-0 upgrades against 1-0 upgraded siege tanks. The Marines are trying to absorb some of that damage. The siege tanks completely destroying a lot of the other siege tanks as well. And Happy with I believe a better army here should be able to come out on top. There are simply too many Marines in transit to really deal with at this stage. This command center was destroyed, as you remember. Happy now sitting on a 50 supply advantage. Medevacs now rolling forward. What is going to happen? Where are they going to go? Siege tanks are in position to start shelling away at more siege tanks here, as we have a 50 supply advantage. 3-3 upgrades about to complete for Kaz. Meanwhile, 3-3 upgrades already completed for Happy. Both of these players are more well-equipped at killing each other, at least each other's buildings, as these upgrades between Marines makes it pretty much the same as 0-0 versus 0-0. A medevac now trying to fly away. Oh, Vikings are going to engage. That's bad news, as one Viking quickly goes down. Another Viking down to pretty much half-life there, as the medevacs are going to get destroyed. Kaz doing a great job denying sight, though, and we'll see if Happy will be able to bust through this containment, we'll see if Kaz is going to be able to bust through this containment, or if Happy will be able to simply choke out Kaz, as Happy does have 2 bases on top of his opponent. Alright, more units now moving around in the center. We are seeing that 3-3 upgrades. Marines fully upgraded, 2-0 upgrades against... Wait, hold on. 3-3 versus... soon to be 3-0 upgrades. Marines now trying to engage. Medevacs are taking a lot of damage as well. Vikings are going to be able to find more Vikings here. And Happy really, really not utilizing his units very well at all. Not trading that effectively. And we now see a 7 supply difference with, I believe, Happy sitting on a larger gas amount, while Kaz is sitting on a larger mineral amount. Medevac drop now looking to come in. It looks as though, oh, we are going to have that drop, but this is not looking good. There's a missile turret here as well. And oh, Kaz could lose that medevac. That was huge. Losing a medevac at this stage in the game. Losing all of those resources inside, as the missile turret now trying to fight back. You can see that the planetary fortress with a range of 7 just dealing so much damage to those Marines there. And now Happy back up to 189, but losing a lot more units than I would have expected. What, 20,000 versus 13,700? So far still pretty even, so far pretty much no surprise there, as Kaz has been on the losing end of every major engagement. Kaz now moving forward with SCVs in order to tank a lot of that damage, and the tanks just shelling away at those units. Marines now trying to make their way forward. Happy still with the upper hand, gonna clean up all of these siege tanks, but the medevacs of Kaz are acting as a very strong spotter. Let's take a look at the worker kill count now, 40 versus 3, and when you have more workers lost than workers, that is not a good place to be in, as we now see a drop or a nuclear strike now coming in. Where are these siege tanks going to go? You can see there's a Scranner Sweep. The one Ghost is not going to be able to do much of anything, and was Happy. Yes, he is going to be dropping down that nuke, getting in a little bit of damage onto these siege tanks far, far away. Marines about to be 3-0 upgraded. We see a new nuke being added. You can see that the Marines are still being trained a dozen at a time. And also down over here, the siege tanks trying to clean up a lot of these Marines. Happy needs to get in with that 0 distance. Mules are now being called in. They are Happy's mules. So this is a Manor mule coming in, or perhaps a little bit of splash damage being dealt as well, as Happy is sitting at 169 compared to 90 at this point. These siege tanks need a run. The siege tanks have made their way forward, and who's going to come out on top? Oh, so much damage to be had. Another siege tank does get taken down here. More Marines. 168 versus 81. 79. This is not looking good at all. Kaz is in trouble. 165 versus 72. Give me 1 second. Oh, there's a GG. Well played. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.